Hello everyone. Okay, so in this video we are looking at functions. So what is a function? So a function is a mapping of a given set of inputs to a single element from a set of possible outputs. So we'll explain what that means now in a minute, but you have come across functions before, right? So we can write a function as following. So we can write the function as the following. So a function is like a rule, right? I put a number, I apply a rule, and out is my output. So this, for example, my rule is if x is my input, so I'm inserting it into my function f. If I insert x in here, my rule is, well, I square that number and add 1. So if I subbed in f of 2, that should be, well, my input's 2, I have to square that number and then add 1, which is 5. So when I insert 2, I get out 5. So here is how we can write functions. So a function can be written as f of x equals x squared plus 1. So we can write it as f of x equals, or we could write it as y equals. So f of x and y are going to mean the same thing. They're both my outputs. Or more uncommonly kind of in junior cert, but very common in leaving cert, would be function. There's a function f such that x maps to, so my input maps to x squared plus 1. So there's 3 type of ways a function can be written out for us. So to be considered a function, an input can only be mapped to one output only. If I put one thing in, I should only get one thing out. If I put cupcakes in the oven, I shouldn't be able to get out cupcakes and a pizza. You know, one thing in, one thing out. That's how things work, right? So to be considered a function, an input can only be mapped to one output. So if we were plotting this out, that means each x value should only have one y value. And the way we can kind of determine this is using the vertical line test. So the vertical line test is very easy. All you do is, if I can draw a vertical line anywhere on my function, and it hits more than 1 point, then it's not a function. So for example, this is a graph of a circle. This is not a function because I drew a vertical line down and it hits at 2 points here and here. While over here, this is a modulus function, which you'll learn about in leaving cert if you haven't already, right? And I can draw a vertical line anywhere and it will only ever hit one y value. So since my left one failed the vertical line test, this is not a function, but this one is a function. Easy peasy lemons. So let's look at some mapping diagrams, right? So here is a mapping diagram. We're going to determine if they're functions or not. So here's a mapping diagram. Here's my inputs, my domain. We're going to go over that in the next video. So these are my inputs. And these are my outputs. So let's see what's happening here. 1 goes to D, fair enough. 2 goes to B, 3 goes to C, 4 goes to C. Is this considered a function? Yes, it is a function. While there is no kind of rule really that we're aware of, right? This is a function because one input only has one output. One input has one output. Right? Now let's look at this one. Is this one considered a function? So domain is another word for my input. We're going to go over that in the next video. So my inputs are 1, 2, 3. My codomain is A, B, C, D. So my outputs are A, B, C, D. So 1 goes to A, 2 goes to B, and 2 goes to C, and 3 goes to D. So is this a function? No, it's not a function because 2 maps to B and C. One input cannot have 2 outputs. Right, let's look at some exam questions. So this one below, I think, is from a junior cert high level paper, 2015 sample paper. Give a reason why the graph below does not represent a function. That is because it fails the vertical line tests, right? Boop, boop, right? Fails it. So fails vertical line test. Right? What about this one? Right? This is from 2017. Jesus. So, this function here, okay, looks like I can draw a line pretty much anywhere. Stunning, that's a function. Same with this function, I can draw a line pretty much anywhere and I won't hit it twice. Stunning. But here, however, SpaghettiOs, it hits it like 3 times. So C is not a function because it fails the vertical line test. Finally, let's just look at some exam style questions. So looking at these now, take a minute. If you can determine which one of these is a function, I'll pause the video if you want to have a guess yourself. But this one here is a function. It's a function, yes, because one input has one output. Is this a function? No, because 2 maps to B and C, right? One input can only have one output. And in here, is this a function? No, because 3 maps to Y and Z, right? One input can only have one output. And explain why these couples are not a function. So we can also write functions as a set of couples or coordinates. So this is my X coordinate, my input. This is my Y coordinate, my output. So I have 1, 3, 2, 7, 3, 10, 1, 12. And as you see here, 1 maps to 3 and 12. If you see that there, 1 maps to 3 and 12. So therefore, it's not a function because one input can only have one output. So that is just a brief introduction to what a function is. In the next video, we're going to be looking over what the codomain, domain, and range of our functions are. So hopefully this video will help you guys. And I'll catch you guys later. Bye.